Hi, welcome back to Sugar Free, or welcome to Sugar Free if this is your first time. This is a daily reading for all signs for Thursday, the 13th of September 2018. 3 card Major Arcana reading, then one from the Swords, one from the Wands, one from the Pentacles, and one from the Cups. And then one for special guidance from the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle. Kuan Yin is the Chinese Buddhist goddess of compassion, which is a good thing. They have a saying in Buddhism. They say, compassion without wisdom is foolishness, and wisdom without compassion is bondage. Not that kind of bondage. So that's something to chew on as I give a little shuffle here. I mean, compassion doesn't always mean rolling over and letting someone walk all over you. In fact, it doesn't mean that at all, ever. But it's quite easy to get those things mixed up if the boundaries aren't clear. Anyway, one last little shuffle. One last cut. Okay, card number 1, the energy as we come into the reading. High Priestess in the reverse. Speaking of the boundaries not being clear. Card number 2, the block or drain. Judgment in the upright. I'm reading towards me. Card number 3, the key to power. The devil in reverse. How interesting. Okay. Let's have a little look at this. Right, there's a sweeping away to be done here, I think. I mean, judgment here in the upright as the block or drain. I think this is not so much a question of getting everything out and having another look and going over old territory. And I mean, here we have, in the Tarot de Marseille, we have the Angel of Judgment blowing the trumpet, and the ground is opening up, and all the old stuff, all the dead and buried stuff coming up for a reappraisal. It's the second to last card of the Major Arcana cycle. And it's when you've been through the whole gamut, from the full all the way through all the challenges, all the changes, all of it. And just before you get to the world, we have the Judgment card, where it all needs to be dug up and reread one more time. But here, it's positioned as the block or drain. The key to power is the devil in reverse. That's new. Haven't had that before. The devil in reverse is about the ending of addictions, the ending of inner bondage. There we go. There's that notion of bondage again. It's the end of it. It's over. So over. Now, the binds and the bonds that we have inside, the addictions, the compulsions, the hooks that we have inside us, are only there because we allow them to be. And we only allow them to be because there is some sort of payoff for us in their presence inside us. And this looks to me like they're not paying out anymore. And I mean, it's so difficult to see when one is hooked up on something or someone inside. It's so difficult to see that there could possibly be a payoff for that, and that we are in fact choosing to continue in that state of bondage. But there is, and it takes enormous courage to admit that to oneself. I mean, I remember a situation from my own life for, good God, best part of 20 years ago now, where for the only time in my life, and I sincerely hope it was the first and last time, I was ridiculously hooked on someone who was playing me like a bloody puppet. It was extraordinary. And I couldn't believe that this was happening, but it was. I could not let it go. I could not let this man go. And yet, the actual deal he was offering me in terms of the shape of things between us was rubbish. But somehow or other, I was hooked up. And I realised in the end that the reason I was staying hooked up and fighting it, and I mean, the more I fought it, the deeper the hooks went. This is the awful truth about these things. The more you struggle, the deeper the hook gets. Because you're buying in and buying in and buying in to the deal that's being offered, even if you're buying in in the way that you're going, no, this is no good, you've got to change, no, you've got to change, we've got to change. And I realised in the end that the reason I could not let it go was because my pride was hooked in, and there was this quality of you might do that to other people, mate, but I deserve better than that. And I did deserve better than that. But no more than any other person deserved better than that. But there was this quality of, you can't do that to moi, to me. And when I realised that, and it wasn't a pleasant realisation, I have to say, it really wasn't. It made me feel pretty small, but that was the beginning of the hooks coming out. That was the first hook to come out, and then bit by bit by bit the rest of them worked out. So there is always some twisted supposed benefit to us of being hooked up with old Nick here. And here old Nick appears in the reverse as the key to power. So I mean, that's fantastic, but it's something that one has to action oneself. And the only way to begin to exit the inner hooks and remove them one by one is through courageous humility. There we go, a little bit more to chew on. Let's see what the High Priestess in reverse is doing here. Now, when I see the High Priestess in reverse, for me, the basic message is narcissism. Okay? It's narcissism. It's me. Because, I mean, look at this depiction. Her infinite compassion and her wisdom here. And this book that she has on her knees here. She wrote that book, she edited that book, she proofread that book, she bound that book, she wrote it out word by word, line by line, page by page, from the goodness of her own heart. But I tell you one thing that book is not about. It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about us. And it's about spirit and how spirit works. That's what she represents, the wisdom of spirit. And here it's in the reverse. So what I'm seeing here is old ground in the Judgment card. Old ground that is all about us. And it's interesting because we have to know ourselves. We have to accept ourselves. We have to live with ourselves. And ultimately, we have to love ourselves through self-acceptance in order to be able to live, peacefully and comfortably and productively and well with others. We have to be able to live in all those ways with ourselves. But there's a difference between that and the whole thing about sort of cherishing the self. I heard a Buddhist monk talk about that once. He was saying that this was a sort of particular facet of Western thinking and certainly of Western psychology, is this sort of self-cherishing, this kind of putting oneself at this special position in one's own heart. This is not helpful to us. I think I spoke about this in another reading. It creates a kind of spiritual hierarchy, an emotional hierarchy where the self is at the center of everything, and everything is judged in terms of how does this work for me? What's in this for me? How does this serve me? And there's a subtle difference between all of that and genuine self-love, because genuine self-love involves a love for the self that is no greater and no smaller than one's love for anybody else, because it acknowledges that we are all equal in the matter of selfhood. And what we have here in the High Priestess in reverse is too much me. It's too much me, and it's old stuff. We're going back and back and back over perhaps our own history, looking back at all the times when we have been done wrong or let down or ridden roughshod over or cheated or hurt or no. Why would we spend time and energy doing that unless there was a payoff? So what I'm seeing here, the key to power here is working out what is the payoff for all this, because this endless reappraisal of one's own victimhood, because ultimately narcissism, when it becomes pathological, is kind of extreme victimhood, because someone afflicted with a pathological degree of narcissism is so victimized in their own eyes that they consider themselves worthy of and entitled to extra super duper special treatment, which everyone else has to give them. And of course everyone else doesn't give them that. They then perceive that as yet another form of abuse and yet another proof of their special victim status. It's a vicious, vicious circle. The key to power here is honesty with the self about the inner payoff of those hooks, those addictions, and one's own anger, one's own resentment, and one's own bitterness. This is what I'm seeing here. And going endlessly over it and going, yeah, but they did this, and yeah, but he did this, and yeah, but she did this, and yeah, but the world did this, and yeah, but everybody did it. No. If you're not happy in your own situation, the Buddhists say this as well. I'm not a Buddhist, by the way, but they do say some really cool things. If there's a problem and you can see a solution, apply the solution and stop worrying. If there's a problem and there isn't a solution, stop worrying. Let's get one from the swords. Oh, this came up the other day, didn't it? 7 of Swords. So yeah, wrongdoing, robbery, shenanigans, up to no good. And I do think possibly in the context of the high priestess in reverse here as the energy as we're coming in, we're robbing ourselves by not engaging with this devil in reverse energy here as the key to power. We are robbing ourselves, and in a sense, to not engage with these things with some sort of honest and humble self examination, not self justifying self examination and trying to find reasons why you are right to feel like a victim. You make yourself your own victim by engaging in that kind of thinking. That's what I'm seeing here. Let's get one from the ones. Wow, okay, there's a lot of, oh, goodness me, okay. 7 of Wands. What strikes me about this is that whoever is going like this with the 6 wands from down the bottom, we can't see them. This is a battle we're fighting all by ourselves. This is in this reading, this 7 of Wands here, this is inner conflict with the self, with ourselves, with the self who's leading the fighting, placed above everything else and above everyone else, and this sort of imaginary attacks. As I said, people only hurt us, people can only hurt us if the inner mechanism is present in us to receive that pain. And God knows, I know how annoying that sounds when you've been on the receiving end of shitty treatment. I know how annoying that sounds, but it is the only way out. It is the only way out from feeling like a victim. This is all about victimhood, this reading. Good God, I don't believe it. This came up yesterday. I really, really do shuffle. 7 of Pentacles. Wow, 3 sevens in a row. 3 sevens in a row. Wow. Shift, shift, shift. Something needs to shift. And this devil in reverse is the key to it. Time to look, really look in the mirror. Not look in the mirror like doing a selfie and like pouting your lips out and turning your face to a certain angle and like, yeah, you see people doing it, don't you? I shared a house once with this woman who every time she looked in the mirror, she'd stick her mouth out. It was extraordinary. I used to sit there watching her. She'd be getting ready to go out, and she didn't look like that at all. You know, she'd be getting all ready to go out and everything on a date or something, and she'd be looking in the mirror and like sticking her lips out. And he's like, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Because you don't look like that. Are you just going to go and sit on your date with like your mouth stuck out?" Bizarre. Honest look in the mirror, warts and all. And it looks to me, and it's certainly by the presence of the Judgment card here as the block or the drain, and the 7 of Pentacles here with this slow growth. This has been brewing for a long time. I mean, there are all sorts of cards in the major arcana that are to do with liberation. I mean, ultimately, everything can be interpreted as pertaining to self-liberation, but nothing can be interpreted as pertaining to self-liberation to the degree of intensity as the devil in reverse. This has been coming a long time. Self-robbery, ultimately imaginary attacks, and this process has been brewing. This has been going on for a long, long time. Wow. What a turn up. 10 of Cups. Well, that's what's on offer. And I tell you what, that the process of really looking oneself in the eye and saying, right, okay, I've got all these problems. These problems are simply circumstances that I am experiencing as problems. And B, I don't have to experience it like that. If I'm willing to give up whatever it is I am getting out of experiencing all these things as problems. 7 of Wands. It's just such self-robbery. It's just incredible. Right, let's get one from Kuan Yin. 10 of Cups on offer, folks. And I'll tell you what, once you start this process, it becomes a lot easier. When you take that first hook out, when you stop wriggling, and just remove that first hook, and then the rest of them come out. Bing, 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 bing. Liberation. 10 of Cups. Right, I'm going to say the mantra in my mind and open the oracle. Well, I have no idea which way up this oracle is when I open it, so I don't know what's at the beginning, I don't know what's at the end. It's a new pack to me, but I've had this one before. Priestess of perfect pairing makes the match. So there's new life coming. You know, we got the ram with his horns and everything that a ram has got. We've got the ewe without the horns, but she's got all the eggs. And here is the little goddess, the little Mongolian plains goddess, like floating over them, working out which one should go with which. Let's put that down there and see how that fits. Well, my eye is drawn here to the couple celebrating under the rainbow of cups here. I tell you what, you cannot, as I said at the beginning, you cannot have productive relationships or a productive relationship, productive in the case of what's going to happen with this ram and this ewe, without self-acceptance. Self-acceptance comes before self-love. Time to look at where those hooks are and what the payoff is for their continued presence. And just doing that makes them fall out. I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for those who have already subscribed. Yeah, please like, please share, please leave a comment. Love seeing comments, and I'll see you again for another reading soon. Cheers, bye bye.